Hello everyone, welcome to Center-ECD Enterprise TV. Today we are live on Food Tech Talk with Mrs. K, and I'm Ihedi Makawekune, your host for the show. Today we are going to be talking about a topic that is very important. We're talking about organizational hazards. You've listed before the physical hazards, chemical hazard, biological hazard. That's not all. There is this other hazard that most times people don't pay attention to, and that is as it concerns the organization, organizational hazard. These are systemic problems. It's a management problem that exposes the work environment to contamination, make it prone to accidents, make it prone to mistakes, just because of how the system works, how the organization works. So I'm talking to you, the business owner, the CEO of that enterprise. Me and you are having this conversation today. Let me give you some examples. Organizational hazards are the way you structured your business. The way it is structured in such a way that it exposes everybody to harm and danger. Frequent examples is one, inadequate training. When you look at the staff, they don't know the work. Somebody is employed today and the person is just told to, is in all beans, we are packaging, just go in and start packaging beans. The person is not trained on how you work. The person is not trained on where things are kept. The person is not trained on how the machines work, and the person is just expected to start immediately. Most people do not train, most SMEs. When you work in bigger organizations, they employ experienced staff, qualified staff. So by academic qualification, they've been trained. By experience in their work, they have been trained. And then after that, they go for internal training and orientation. So before they start their day-to-day duties. But most SMEs employ most times on school people or people with limited education or people that read courses that are unrelated to food production. And they say, are you not an adult? Can't you just wash tomatoes? And they push them into the factory space. When you have this, you are setting up that place for accident. You are setting up an unsafe condition for your workplace. The second one is poor communication. In most places, there is no communication. Communication can be verbal, it can be written. Both ways or either way, it works. But most times, written communication are very, very important, because verbal communications, you may be misunderstood or somebody may think you said something or forget. But when you have written instructions within your workplace, people come into the workplace and the communication, it is clear. So when you walk into the place, you are seeing who is on duty, who is not. There's a duty roster posted in staff convenient area. If you come into the organization, you can see the flow chart so that a staff that is producing with you understand that this process happens before the other process. They don't get it mixed up, because one thing you will understand about food is the way different ethnic groups process different foods. Process the same food will be different. The way people of lower income level and the way people of higher income level process food may also be different. So it's not merely saying, is he not an adult? Can't she pick egusi? It's not about age now. It's about what is the process you, an entrepreneur, use in your organization. You need to write it down, your processes, the procedures, what time, what happens, how long, what happens, at what temperature, what happens. It's called the Standard Operating Procedures, SOP. So you need to write down your SOP, let somebody look at it, read it, and ask questions. So your SOP is supposed to be, it's not going to have some chemical jargons inside it. It's going to be in the simplest way that your team members can understand, and it should be pasted or made available for them to go back to refer to it as they are working for you. Signs are supposed to be kept on the workplace. These are means of communication. If somebody enters the place, he should be able to see that, oh, this is where I should keep my bag. Oh, this is where I can find knives. This is where I can find detergent. This is where I can find whatever it is, tools, whatever it is. Label your work environment. Make sure you have an SOP. Make sure you have a form of documentation. These are the things that make communication easier in the workspace. Another thing to talk about is lack of supervision. Most times when SMEs do not supervise their work, the entrepreneurs do not supervise their team members, what is going on, you may find out that people derail over time. People forget things. People are going through stuff. So sometimes your team member is not even thinking about you or your business. So when we are talking about supervision, who is checking what is going on in your place? Who is checking your processes? Even if you are working alone, you should also be your own supervisor. What do I mean by that? While you are working, you monitor what you are doing. Always have that mindset of let me recheck. Let me recheck. So you have set your oven. Always tell yourself, let me recheck what's the temperature. Let me recheck. Note the time you started a process. If it's a process that is time controlled, what time did you start? What time did you end? Because if you are a bake for 30 minutes, for instance, and we are using a locally fabricated oven, so there's no timer set on it, it means you have to set your own time. Did you set your time? Or you just think, oh, it go done by now? No, that's not how to work. If you want to have these systems of knowing that there's a checklist for checking, there's a checklist for recording, the processes, the procedures, before any product leaves your production facility. Has it been checked? Who inspected it? Did you check your seal? Did you check the liquid content if you are bottling? Did you check the color? Did you check the consistency? Did you check the weight? If you have a system that checks, you are going to reduce cases of hazard. When I was working in a bottling company, we have dedicated staff for sighting. Even though the processes are fully automated, somebody's duty is also to continue looking at the bottles as they are passing. It is very critical that products that are leaving your production space are thoroughly inspected, so you do not bottle things for the consumers, things that are not food for the consumers. The next one is weak safety procedures. What is the safety procedure in your workplace? Does anybody know if there's a fire incident? Does anybody working with you or you, self, do you know what to do? Did anybody think it through and document it? What are the safety protocols? Who do you call if somebody falls and breaks his head? Safety is very, very important. And if you as an entrepreneur have not set up a system that makes safety possible, it means that unsafe condition perpetuates and people will be unsafe in the workplace. The final one I'll talk about is no resource or budget for maintenance. You do not budget for maintenance. I understand most of us in the small food processing are working with very limited budgets, are working with very limited, very small margin. So you are producing at 1,000 naira, you are selling at 1,200 naira. It barely pays salaries, it barely pays running costs. Because you are competing with price, you cannot mark up your price, you cannot increase price and make reasonable profit enough to have amounts set out for maintenance. It is an error because while you are competing with price, you need to also consider the sustainability of your business. If there is no budget for maintenance, it means that when there is machine breakdown, what do? You go back to manual production, which is going to affect your product quality badly. Or you now start working with broken down machines. It's also going to affect your product quality, and it's also going to be a risk depending on how the machine is broken down. It's going to be a risk to your team members and to the entire people working in your space. So make out budget. Ensure that you are pricing your product rightly. Make sure that your machines are well depreciated so that you are accounting for the cost of maintenance or the cost of buying a new one if the old one gets broken down completely or it outlives its lifetime. Poor hiring is the next one I'm going to be talking about. Poor hiring. Because of the same limited finances, most SMEs in the food space just hire a human being. No qualifications at all. You do not check, okay, is this person qualified? It's okay if you employ people without any form of qualification, but ensure that after the employment, you educate them. But there are persons who, because of their level of education and age, it becomes almost impossible to re-educate them. Do not assign duties that require education for such people. You do not have somebody with zero knowledge, zero education, mixing chemicals for you. Adding preservatives is the person that is responsible for calculating what quantity of bromate you're going to add to food. You're going to kill people. People that cannot read labels and understand it. People that cannot understand expiry dates, ingredients, batch, or all those things should not be the ones responsible for such tasks. So when you have employment issues, when you err in the form of employment and you have employed people you cannot train, or you did not train the people you have employed, you are setting up the workspace for hazard. You're setting up the workspace for disaster. It's an organizational hazard. You need to watch out for it. In conclusion, we're going to look at how do you fix organizational hazards. It needs to be fixed. If you have identified that you have a lot of hazards here and there, and it's your fault as the owner, the person that runs the system, you need to fix it. Where do you start from? I will always say the number one place to start from is training. Acquire knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Go for knowledge. Go for knowledge, my people. Go for knowledge. Invest in training. Training does not mean academic work where you sit down and be reading book. That's what rings in our mind most times we hear training. Training, there are in-house training tailored for your organization. Contract professionals like the FDIHUB, and we will handle such for you. And if you cannot go for formal training, also learn by yourself. You can self-train on a lot of things. Of all the things I've mentioned, these are topics you can go and look up and train yourself on. And if you're working alone, you need to have a conversation with yourself. Yes, someone said, when you see me talking to myself as an entrepreneur, know that I'm having staff meeting. You can have such staff meeting if you're working alone. Sit down by yourself and think your process is true. Think about what happened. How did it happen? Why did it happen? That's staff training you're having with yourself. Since you are the CEO, you are the employee, you're the security man, by yourself. It happens. Many of us pass through those stages. And if you find yourself at that stage at this time, make out time for that thinking process, and so that you can improve, so that your workplace will be safer for you. Inspect regularly. Invest in the basic tools you need. When you do all these things, you're going to be saving yourself money. I hope after watching this video, there's going to be lots of improvements in your workspace, lots of improvements in your processes. So I would like to know in the comment section, what are you going to be doing differently after watching this video? I will be reading it. I will want to read what you will have to say about it. And if you want to book us for your staff in-house training, for food safety training, for tailored training for your staff according to their academic qualifications, you can always reach out to us through the Center-ECD. Thank you so very much for joining us for today's episode of Food Tech Talk with Mrs. K. My name is Ihedima Kawekone. You can call me Mrs. K. Thank you for joining. If you have not subscribed for this YouTube channel, please make sure you subscribe right away and click on the notification button so that anytime we release a new video, you will be the first to be notified. Thank you so very much.